Hi, this is Julian for Production Expert. I've got Harrison Bass Flow here, which is, as the name implies, a one-stop shop for bass. And I've got it on this track here. And if I engage what I've set up here, listen to this. I'll turn the bass up a little more than I might otherwise. We'll bypass that again. Okay, so it's relatively subtle stuff because I haven't gone silly with it. But to make things easier to hear, what I'll do is I'll just set up the drums and the bass, and we'll run that again. We'll run in bypass to begin with, and we'll have a second listen. So there we are. It's a DI bass. It's a DI jazz, played finger style. Nothing wrong with it. Bringing this in, what I've done is hardened it up a little bit, which I kind of like. Makes it sound a little bit more modern. I'll just knock that out again. Softer. And it's kind of got more, what I'd probably describe, throat, more burble to it, if you know what I mean, which is quite a nice sound. What we've got in here is we've got a multiband compressor, we've got this bass character, which I'll come back to, an equalizer, and a chorus. So the thing I like about these Harrison plugins is that all the kind of the boring stuff is looked after. I don't mean that as a criticism in any way. All the gain staging is there. We've got places to attenuate or boost at every stage, and they've really thought about how to dip in and listen to stuff. So what I'm going to do is I've got a momentary bypass here, which is kind of nice. Just while you click on it, that bypasses the effect. We'll lose the drums as well, I think, and we'll just listen to the bass on its own. So, in bypass. So what's going on? Well, you can adjust the order in which things are happening. I'm EQing, then bass character, which is also kind of EQ, pre-compression, and then I've got some chorus on the end. So what's going on? EQ, what I'm doing with the EQ, we'll listen from this point. You can audition from any point. Here we are before anything happens. But if I click here, we can listen just post this EQ. This equalizer is really nice. We've got some filters, optional filters at either end, which aren't in circuit at the moment. At the moment, all I'm doing is I'm just boosting around a K, which is sort of 900 hertz-ish, just to kind of bring out some of that mid-range, because that's quite a nice thing to do. I'll exaggerate. That's the stuff we're after. And if I take it out, to harden things up. How did I find that? Well, what you can do actually is if you come on here, you've got some different filter types available, one of which is search, which does a kind of band pass thing. This stuff down here is nice. Not much going on past there, but it's in right in the middle of the mid-range I was interested. That stuff, kind of it's not quite twang, but it's not far away from it. And if I turn that back to a bell filter and give that a little bit. Nice. So it's putting a little bit of definition onto the sound. Great. We've got this analyzer, which you can choose to switch off if you want, but I'm leaving that in and some settings for that there. And we've got an output control, so I can just dial things back ever so slightly so that when I knock that out, I'm not liking what I've done just because it's louder. You've got that at every point, actually, apart from one, which I'll kind of come back to. Okay, so next up, I've got this bass character section. This is a pitch tracking equalizer. What you're doing is you've got represented up here, you've got the harmonics, and that's what happens is you can see the energy at each harmonic in a pitch sound, and you can either boost or cut, depending on what you want to do. And what I'm doing here is I'm boosting the second harmonic. Now this is on that first note, it's around 100 hertz, which is right in the sort of like the nice round bassy area of the bass. We can see the amount of energy here. There's the fundamental, first, second harmonic, etc. going up, and that's the stuff, and it's nice and rich and thick and nice. Now I want a bit more of that. The point here is this is very like obviously Sound Radix were kind of like first people to do that kind of equalizer. Other people have done it since. Isotope have done it, and this is it's a different way of presenting that pitch tracking EQ idea, where you're making timbre changes that stay in place as the pitch of the note coming in changes. And it's something that's really useful on bass. So good. I like that. We've got 2 bands. I'm only using 1 band. To be honest, in these kind of things, I only ever really use 1 band, especially on basses, just to kind of boost a particular area. Very often the 2nd or 3rd harmonics to bring out a little bit of kind of meat on the sound. Great. So compression. You have to compress bass. It's kind of the law. And in here, what we've got, it's nice. It's we'll just get that in. In fact, we'll use this again to come from here. And I'll knock that out for now. What I'm looking to do is I'm looking to firm things up. And that's what we've got there. That's nice. I've left this pretty much at its default. You can change the sensitivity for each band. The bands are fixed. You can see their ranges here. But you've also got this depth control. This is great. I like a depth control. What it does is you can change the sensitivity, which is pretty much the threshold. But the depth sets a maximum amount of gain reduction that you'll hit. And it's on 6 dB for all these, very modest. That's the default. But here, I've dug in a little more. And I've also upped the sensitivity on this 350 band to get a little bit more action in there. But with this, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to compress harder at the bottom end. I'll pull that up a little more maybe, to get some kind of like woof of the bass transient of the air moving. And I'm getting a sense of that. It's nice. Again, we've got a gain stage here. We've got the makeup gain. There isn't really an equivalent over here. If I've got this boost here, I can't see a way of pulling it back again on this stage. So that's the only exception to that rule of you've got good control for levels in versus out. Lastly, we've got chorus. Chorus on bass, for me, it's not something that I do. It just kind of screams 80s bass to me, kind of like picked chorus bass on gothy records or chorus on fretlesses. And it's very 80s, but actually it's not. It's just what I associate it with, and used tastefully, it's quite nice. We'll bring some of that in here. And there things are getting very nasty. But pulling it back a little bit, it's reasonably subtle. It's detuned. It's a very good chorus. My issue is probably with whether or not chorus is for me on bass, and it's not really my taste. And I tend to find I'm pulling it back so far that it's kind of nearly gone, which suggests that it's not something that I'd usually go for. But anyway, bringing that back in with the drums. Okay. And we've got input and output controls so that I can balance things up so that when I bypass, things are in proportion. So anyway, there you go. There's Harrison Bass Flow.